Your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message system.
Matt Horn
Is not available. At the tone, please record your message. When you have finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
Kate.
No.
No. Kate, you can't see this. You don't want to see this. I'm sorry. Kate? I'm sorry.
Mario, where are you? This is Garon Paddy from Gears of War. I'm calling you because we're supposed to play together today with Gears 5. What's the matter with you? You don't know this? You don't have a clock there in England or wherever the hell you live? I can't believe this. I'm in Grozny. I'm sitting here looking at my Grozny watch, which works terrifically, by the way. And he says to me, you should be there. I'm a man who respects other men who respect my time. If you are disrespecting me, Matthew, then that does not make me very happy. And you don't want to make Garen Paddock unhappy, do you? All right. I will give you one more chance. I'll call you tomorrow. We're going to do Gears 5 together. And if we don't, well, you'll see, my friend.
on the line. We have Chris Cox talking to us. From where are you talking to us from, Chris?
I'm talking to you from Los Angeles, California. That's where Sam Elliott lives as well. Just thought I'd let you know that. Did you see A Star is Born?
No.
Then why the hell am I talking to you?
What's up, man? What's going on?
Well, I've got to start off by saying it's November the 5th. If you can hear a lot of banging behind me, it's firework day.
That's me.
And, Chris, I like to get political. I'm sorry. We're still in the EU.
I know. You are. Literally, at this moment, I feel it still could be somewhere you're going to be. I mean, I don't know. We got to see, right? There's been a lot of delaying.
With Boris and Natasha.
And who knows? We'll see. When this comes out, maybe you're going to be Brexiting merrily. I hate that term, by the way. I just hate it because it reminds me of Brangelina, Benifer. We're going to have a Trexit. Is that what we're going to have? Trumpexit? Who knows?
Trumpexit, yeah.
We've got a year to figure it out.
There's a mountain to climb or a wall to climb. It depends on your point of view.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Climb every wall. We will see.
Well, I've got something to tell you, Chris. I have a friend called David, and I said to him, I've got this chap on tomorrow from Gears 5. And he said, so who is it? You know, and I said, well, he's been in Knights of the Old Republic, which you have. He's been in Family Guy, which we will talk about at some point. And do you know what he said?
I do not, but I imagine you're going to tell me.
Yep. He said, this is incredible. I couldn't believe this. He said, I'm just looking at the text now. He said, Glumshanks in Skylanders. Yeah, he's got a recognisable voice.
That's great. Okay.
Mm.
I think that's good. Sometimes you want to not have a recognizable voice inside your characters, but in terms of him knowing all of my credits, I take that as a high compliment. And oh wow, look at that! I almost did slip into Glumshanks. Sir, what are you doing there? Because Glumshanks is really just a little bit of Jeff Goldblum tweaked. You see? Chaos. That's what it is. Oh, I don't think this is a good idea. The Fly was a seminal movie not my childhood, but in my teens. I loved that movie, and that's when I began my Goldblum journey, chipping away at him like a sculptor, finding his inner id.
Well, let's obviously talk about the main reason why we're here, Chris, which is obviously Gears 5.
I thought you were going to ask me how amazing the coffee is I'm drinking. Can I give a plug? Square One, Los Angeles. Really a terrific cup of coffee. Consistently top-notch. I just want to tell you that.
Yeah, the reason why we're talking is Gears 5. I'm going to kickstart it so easily off now with the best question of all time. What was production of the game like for you?
Okay, so this is actually a really cool game for me because it started with 4. I mean, I just auditioned for that role, but then once I got in there, the writer of Gears, the last few iterations, Tom Bissell, he really tuned in to what I was doing. It was like he came up with this new character, right? And he really loved this character. As a result, and he was in the room when we were recording. I mean, he wasn't actually in the booth with me. That would be very inappropriate. But he was there, and he started kind of, as more pages were coming, I could feel that it was really kind of, he was riding towards me, I felt like. And that was, for me, just a real revelation. It was such an interesting experience. I hadn't had that before. I'd had it in a cartoon I was in, but never in a video game. So as I was doing the character, it was like growing and melding to me, and it became really one of my, if not the favorite character I've played in video games. I just feel like I know this guy inside out. And so then he went away. Gears of War Judgment Day was what I was in, and then they did the next iteration, and he wasn't in it. And I won't say I was crestfallen, but just a notch below whatever that is. I was so eager to play him again. And so when they brought him back for Gears 5, I was like giddy, with excitement. And so they brought us in, they brought me in, and it was just like putting on an old pair of shoes. It just fell right back in. He's like 11 years older, so I grizzled him, I aged him. There was more experience. There was Tom once again, and Chris Porter's directing, and Rod Ferguson, the executive, just there and smiling and adding his own coloring as well. And I just couldn't be happier with Gears 5. Garen is back.
Well, obviously, a lot of people come through my doors, obviously being mocap artists. Mm-hmm. Was that part of the project?
No, it wasn't. They put dots on my face for sure. They were tracking my expressions. There was always a camera there, and it was always funny, like, I'd have these dots, and sometimes it wouldn't come all the way off, so it would be like traveling out into the world with this little, grease pencil dot on my chin. But that's how they would digitally capture my expressions. When I watch it, when I see it, to me, it kind of has that flavor of being a motion capture, but I think that's a testament to the technology. It's come so far. I mean, I can't personally discern the difference,
It is a proper franchise.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I mean, they've been talking about the film for God knows how long, haven't they?
They do that with a lot of things. They did that with Skylanders. Although they did, to their credit, they did make a TV show out of Skylanders. They just didn't use the cast from the game. They used a lot of celebrities, except for Richard Horvitz, who ended up playing Chaos as he did in the game.
It is in development.
What's that? Skylanders?
No, Gears of War.
Oh, Gears of War. Oh, that makes sense. I mean, it makes perfect sense. It's so cinematic. I mean, it really is. It's just amazing. It can be risky when you try to do these things, but I think Gears would be a great one. Wow, in development. Do they have any stars attached? Any directors?
I'd have to go on IMDb Pro to tell you, but no. Uncharted, I mean, it's a completely different franchise. I mean, Uncharted, they're talking about Tom Holland playing Nathan Drake. Why not just get the voiceover artist to do it?
Right. Well, that's the eternal question. I mean, Nolan is an on-camera actor. He's done, a decent amount of on-camera stuff. In fact, what is he in that I can't remember. He's in some show that my daughter was watching. I watch different shows than my daughter. Go figure. She's 11, 12 very soon. But he was in one of these shows, and it wasn't that long ago. It looked like it was probably a few years ago. And he's great, And so I think he could bring it. But they want, faces that people recognize. They can bring people to the box office. Tom Holland seems a little young to me. But again, my daughter would be very happy. She is obsessed with Tom Holland. So, I would think maybe almost like a Bradley Cooper, maybe. He did that movie where he played the sharpshooter, the Marine, Chris Kyle, is that what it was? The Clint Eastwood movie. He might actually be pretty good. Let's put him in there. Why don't you hack the program?
Well, I mean, going back to Gears, one such example I can think of, most obvious example, is Lester Speight, who plays Augustus Cole. Now, if they made a film adaptation, why not just keep it as Lester?
Right. I know what you mean. I mean, to take it another way, not to make it all about me, but I would not be cast in the Gears of War movie as Paddock because he's about 3 times my size. He's, a completely different physical specimen than I am. Oh, you know who I think would play him, actually? Who was the guy? Oh, from Lord of the Rings. What is that actor's name? I'll figure out and find him. Because I actually think this guy that I'm talking about would be perfect. Although he's not like, of Slavic descent. Groznian is what he is, but that's based on, loosely on Eastern European kind of Yugoslavia, Czechoslovakia, old USSR kind of stuff. He's very much in that vein.
Sean Bean?
Sean Bean. Who's Sean Bean?
Boromir in the first one.
Let me click on that.
He played the bad guy in GoldenEye.
Yes, Sean Bean. He looks like Paddock. He has the physical, his face, he just has that kind of heavy skeletal structure. His brows prominent. He's got a big jaw. He's got a little bit of a wry thing about him. I think he would be great. I hereby announce Sean Bean. No, I better not do that.
No.
When you do things like that on the internet, everyone goes, "Did you hear that? Sean Bean's good."
Yeah.
So let me unequivocally state, Sean Bean has nothing to do with Gears of War, to my knowledge. If I were pitching my hat in the ring, I think he would be amazing.
So going back to Gears 5,
yeah.
Are there any funny anecdotes you can share about the production of the game?
I will tell you this. When I'm in the booth, one of the ways that I keep my energy and even the energy of, I'm going to say the crew, the people recording it, the way I kind of work and keep things moving is that in between takes, I joke around and keep it light. If there's an opportunity that I see, comedically, I see something funny that strikes my fancy, I will go on a little riff about it. So for me to point out one thing would be hard, but I can tell you in general, as we're recording, I really like to have fun and joke around and be silly. And so, I'll do an impression or there's a line and I'll just continue going past the written line into my own little soliloquy or whatever as Paddock. But, no one fell off the ladder because we're sitting in a studio. So in a recording studio, no one got hurt. But those aren't wacky hijinks. Now that I remember it, I think I did spill a pot of coffee because the lid wasn't on tight enough. That's the best blooper I can share with you.
And then you suddenly realise it's in the game.
That would be amazing. I realized that the security cameras aren't really security cameras. They're furtherances of the facial capture cameras. And there's Paddock pouring a cup of coffee and spilling it.
Oh, damn it, what the hell happened? Who put this on like this? Where is the PA? Come here, what are you doing? You screw the cap on. You don't just place back on.
When I hear it, it makes me think of sort of a Russian Sylvester Stallone.
That's hilarious. I love it.
Yo, Adrian, what are you doing? Yo, Adrian, what are you doing?
See?
I will beat Ivan Drago. We are from similar background.
Yeah, that's really funny. Good ear.
Mm.
That had nothing to do with the creation of it, but I like that you've pointed that out, and I don't disagree.
Good.
I'm the host, and you shouldn't disagree with me.
Exactly. So let's talk a bit about you, Chris. Let's go into the wonderful thing that is your life. What made you want to get into voice acting predominantly in the first place?
I was a kid that did voices all the time. Starting at a very young age, probably 4, I was imitating our neighbor from Mississippi, who I had apparently a decent enough impression of that my parents were somewhat mortified and wouldn't let me around him lest I busted out. They were worried that I'd, say something in his tone and he'd be like, "What the heck did he just say? Is he mocking me?" So that's where it started, and it just evolved from there. I mean, all throughout school, I was the guy that came to school on Monday after watching Saturday Night Live, and whether it was Eddie Murphy or Billy Crystal or Dana Carvey, I would impersonate their impersonations. And I was good enough to, garner the attention of my classmates. And so all that kind of built, I guess, my confidence. And then when I came out here, I just kind of fell into it. I mean, I have to be honest, it wasn't like I was knocking down doors. I had a, serendipitous moment, and that kind of opened up the world to me.
Well, this is a question that you'll think, oh, God, he's asking that question. He's probably had 500 answers to this question. Probably everybody asks you this regularly, and you're thinking, I'm just going to write it down on Facebook or something like that.
How does one become a voice actor?
There you go.
And if they wanted to be a voice actor, who would they talk to? That's my half-committed Michael Caine, who's always giving advice about acting. Don't blink. Whatever you do, if you're in a seat and you want the power, don't blink. That doesn't work for voiceover, by the way. You can blink all you want. Nobody sees you. I'm going to say, here's what it is. Right now, in a weird way, it's a better time than ever in terms of the accessibility of voiceover to the masses. The internet has blown the doors open. There's a lot of websites that, you don't need me. Google, you can suddenly go to a lot of these websites where they, offer up memberships and so forth. You got to be careful. I can't endorse any of them because I don't really know that world. But from what I gather, you pay a fee, you get auditions, and at least that way you can start getting your chops up. The big piece of advice I would give, go to D. Bradley Baker's website, iwanttobeavoiceactor.com, because D, many years ago, had been asked this question ad nauseum, as you've just pointed out, and he really coalesced a bounty of information that is very helpful. It's like a curriculum, a syllabus, if you will, of what you can do and the different ways you can get in. The bottom line is, if you really, really want to do it, go for it. Don't give up. Push through the barriers. Focus on the acting. Don't worry about, I could do shady voices, and I could do shady voices there, and low and high. Like, all of that stuff that a lot of people, think because their friends have told them, oh, my God, you're so good at voices. It's not about that. I mean, something I'm very proud of with Gears. Clearly, I'm doing Russian Sylvester Stallone, as you said. But I'm bringing acting chops, and that's what you really have to bring, That's what's going to make you stand out. So focus on the acting, and, if you can get some classes. I don't know how it is over in the UK or, other parts of the world, but, here in LA, certainly there's a lot of classes you can take, and just keep working. Did any of that resonate? Probably the website, right?
Well, we need to obviously go on to the biggest thing that I suppose is part of your career.
Sure. Which
is obviously Family Guy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm looking at it now, and I'm thinking 19 years? Really?
Yes. I just rounded up to 20. It's a lot easier. Oh, that was the serendipitous moment, by the way, was that the casting director for Family Guy 20 years ago had come across a tape I did where I did an impression of Paul Reiser, and they needed that for the show. And so they had me come on. They ended up cutting the bit because, especially back then, they were throwing a lot at the wall, They were feeling their way through the show. They would record and write way more bits, I think, than they needed. So that one, hit the cutting room floor. But nonetheless, I made I'm not trying, that sounds like a pun, but I made an impression on them, and they brought me back. And from there, I just built a working relationship with Seth MacFarlane, the creator, where, we had our own sort of easy flow, easy language. I would come in, do my thing, and get the heck out. I wouldn't linger or mess around too much. And that's the other thing. You got to feel where it's appropriate to be funny and joke around. It's like Family Guy, that show is funny. The scripts are funny. So just come in and honor that and get out. Not saying we wouldn't joke around, but like Gears of War, like I told you, one of the ways I kept going because the sessions were, I'd joke around and do this and that. But you got to know when to get in and when to get out and where it's appropriate. So with Family Guy, I just sort of, I was just about the business, and here we are 19 or 20 years later, and I'm still doing it. I just went in, 2 weeks ago or something to record another ancillary but nonetheless key role in the show.
They've obviously had their controversies over the years. I mean, I'm looking at it now, I mean, Seth's done 337 episodes. You've done 109 across the years. Why do you think it's so popular? I mean, I know that's a bit of a big question, but why do you think that the echelons of power haven't gone, hang on a second, this is too far, left field, and we need to get rid of this?
Right. I mean, there's this sort of, cliche answer, which is they're a family, ultimately, and people relate to that, mom, dad, son, daughter. It's a familiar dynamic, and it's a dynamic you can depend on, and they just warp the hell out of it. I mean, they warp it more than The Simpsons. And then the second thing I would say, besides that just sort of comfort food aspect, is, like South Park, their extreme level of irreverence kind of, it goes so far that it somehow, I don't know if this makes sense, it somehow comes back and it just lands. Some shows try to go there and they miss the mark. Family Guy, it's so self-aware and it makes no apologies for that. And I think that is an honesty that the audience feels underneath all of the, ribald comedy, as it were. They feel that there's a truth and an honesty in that writer's room that's coming through. So, it gives them great license to push the envelope, which they do. And people, they respect that. I think they respect fearlessness and anti-establishment points of view. And so I think that it's kind of was tailor-made for the time period that it's in. I think it speaks to people on a few different levels. That's why I think. Or it could just be the way it's drawn. People just like the way the characters look. That could be another simple reason.
Well, I'm going to ask a dangerous question now.
I would think most of these have been dangerous in some fashion because you're allowing me to answer them, and that's just always a real gamble.
This is beyond dangerous. If
Okay.
Seth's listening, I fully endorse him to rip into me at some point on Family Guy. But the question I've got for you, this is good. Obviously, you've done a variety of characters, and obviously you get the scripts, and they're fantastic. Has there ever been anything that you've read and thought, no, I can't say this?
No, not with Family Guy. You go in understanding what you're in for. You know what I mean? You walk through the doors, and you're not walking in to do a Disney cartoon. My boundaries are pretty wide. I have a very open mind about all of this stuff, which sometimes in this day and age can be a little harder. Yeah, no, nothing there. What I will say is that I've had, other shows or projects where I've had funny moments. For instance, most recently, the Netflix show Love, Death, and Robots, which if you haven't seen that, I highly encourage you to check it out. It's really incredible. They use a bunch of different styles of animation. Have you seen this by any chance?
Funny enough, Chris, I'm so glad you mentioned it.
I'm in a couple of them, yeah.
Yeah.
Or at least one. I know I did a couple, I think. And I can tell you, the weirdest, funniest moment that I've ever had in a voiceover booth occurred on that show, because that show is like edgy beyond Family Guy in just the sense that it's so disparate in all of its angles from which it attacks. You can't find that comfortable sort of, oh, there's the nuclear family. It's all, it's an anthology, so you've got different segments and whatever. So they did a thing about different ways of how Hitler would be stopped. One of the ways, spoiler alert for those that might want to catch it and not know, 3, 2, 1, I'm giving you time to fast forward, is they offer up Hitler these 3 sort of lovely sirens. And then the sirens go and perform certain acts on Hitler. And they needed the sound, a very particular mouth sound, to accompany one of those acts. And they asked me to do it. And as they were describing it to me, they don't even really know quite how to get there. And they're saying, well, you need to kind of, and I just stop them. I go, so you want me to sound like I'm giving oral sex to Adolf Hitler? And there was a pause, and then we all just kind of exploded in laughter, because that's the ridiculousness in many ways of this job. And it's a beautiful ridiculousness. But I mean, imagine I'm standing alone in a booth being sort of directed by multiple people, and they're just trying to find the right things. I just cut through it. I go, want me to sound like I'm blowing Hitler? And they said, yes, that's what we want. And I thought, it's all come to this. 20 years, and this is where I'm landing. I'm in a booth making noises to be filleting the most evil man to walk the planet, I think, ever. Your question was, have you ever walked in there and they've asked you to do something and you said, I can't do it? No, I happily did it, but it was a very bizarre moment, as was describing it on your podcast, by the way.
Those 4 words have never been uttered on a podcast before and probably never will again, so enjoy this moment.
No, I know. Well, I wrote it down on a Post-it. In that moment because I thought, this will never, and I told them that. I said, this will never be uttered, certainly by me, and I would venture to say no other voice actor will ever utter that phrase again. And, it's been, I think, a year since I did it, and I haven't said it other than to retell the story.
Didn't you say that you were in Square One?
No. Oh, the coffee shop?
Yeah.
Oh, no. I'm drinking it. No, my lovely wife brought me a cup this morning. But that would be awesome if I was. And I would not refrain from telling that story. I mean, I really don't have, any I wouldn't have any compunction. I would order a side of scrambled eggs in the same breath.
Well, funnily enough, as we've been speaking, Chris, Dave has actually messaged me.
Dave! Where's Dave located? Where's Dave at?
Basically, obviously, I said to him that I'd mentioned the fact that you'd noticed sort of glum shanks and etc. He has asked me to ask you, and this is live, so obviously enjoy it. Ask him if he thinks Skylanders will ever return, or if the characters will be able to appear in future Spyro games.
Ooh, that's a great question. I want you to compliment Dave on that question and put heart emojis. I don't know. Obviously, it was a very successful franchise. I mean, without a doubt. I remember walking in to a toy store with my daughter and seeing shelf after shelf of the action figures and all that stuff. So I think that it certainly could, but I can tell you from my own knowledge, I know nothing about whether they will or whether they would return in Spyro either. But I mean, I would love for them to come back. Richard who played Chaos, we had a great chemistry, and sometimes we'd actually work in the booth together, and that was always the most fun because we would riff and again sometimes go off the page and find comedy on our own. But yeah, no news from this front. Sorry, Dave.
So obviously I'm going to talk about Mortal Kombat now.
This is the only way that you're going to talk about it, the T-8000 and all that stuff.
Doesn't Linda Hamilton appear in Gears 5?
Oh, wow, that's interesting. I did not know that.
Hang on.
There's D. Bradley Baker. Oh, there's Eric Lopez, a good friend of mine. I'm looking down the list. There she is, Sarah Connor. What? What the hell? Why did I not know this?
Basically, I had a bit of a look into how does that work exactly. And basically, what it is all this online multiplayer stuff.
Yes.
You can get a skin where you're playing as Sarah Connor. And that's how they've done it. So obviously, when I knew that Mortal Kombat was obviously coming out, I was thinking, well, obviously they're going to have to be getting Arnold Schwarzenegger to do it.
That was not to be.
No, they got you.
To be or not to be. Yeah, they got me. Sorry. I apologize in advance for whatever disappointment you might have at this.
Have you seen the new film?
I haven't. I have not seen it. I really want to. I'm a big fan of the franchise, but I have not had a chance to see it. But I think it just came out, so it's probably still in the theaters. Have you?
Nope.
You have no interest.
I mean, I'm glad that they got Jim Cameron back, put it that way.
You know what? Tim Miller, the director, is also an executive producer and directed the voiceovers on Love, Death, and Robots.
Oh.
Yeah, so I met him, and he's a great guy. Really nice. He had just come off of Deadpool. He directed the first Deadpool, which was an instant classic for me. I loved that movie. So I want to see it also to see if he brings the same kind of wink that he brought to Deadpool. I mean, from the minute that started and they had, Juice Newton's Angel in the Morning playing, horrifying, slow motion, glass shattering crash and all that stuff. I was like, oh, this guy means business. This is going to be good. It's going to be a fun ride. I have to check it out before I make any judgments. Any judgment days.
Very good, yeah.
Tell Dave I did that.
Well, obviously Skylanders is sort of what would be the easy way of describing it? It's a bit like Lego Dimensions, where you're sort of integrating different things into a game, if that makes sense. And obviously now with the Arrow universe, they're bringing Batman and Superman together and all these other things together. With Batman, you've got Kevin Conroy, who is going to be in the Arrowverse, which obviously connects to you because you've been in the Arkham series, as it were.
Yes.
But the question is Robert Pattinson a really good idea to play Batman?
Oh, man, you're going to get me in trouble here, man. Why are you asking me this? You're going to get me in trouble asking this. Actors that I have really respected have played that role and not succeeded. Val Kilmer, George Clooney, whether or not they didn't succeed because of their own, performances and abilities, I don't necessarily know. Or whether they were, just not great scripts, great directors. Those are always kind of things you can't really quantify. But in terms of Pattinson, he certainly has the broodiness. I mean, I think you would say that. Whether or not he has the grit and darkness, that's the thing he'll have to bring. I mean, that sort of, you can't quite reach him. He's the Dark Knight. That's a pretty specific kind of area. But Joaquin Phoenix with the Joker, right? Like, I'm not going to say if you had asked me that question about him playing the Joker that I would have said, no way. But I would have had to kind of wrap my mind around it. And so, in a similar way, I have to wrap my mind around Pattinson, give him a chance. Ben Affleck, obviously, I think it didn't really resonate as much, but he was coming after Christian Bale, which was the definitive performance. And maybe for Joaquin Phoenix, it was a long enough span between Heath Ledger and him that people were able to adjust. And he just did a great job, I thought. He really committed to the role and brought a new angle. So that's what I think Pattinson would have to do, is he'd have to bring those things that we've already loved and then give it a twist. He's going to have to find that new angle that's going to define it for him, because if you just try to be the square-jawed Batman, that doesn't work. You got to bring something else. So we'll see, man.
And just to be nice to you, obviously you were in the Knights of the Old Republic games, which is Star Wars, and obviously the 9th episode is vastly looming towards its release date quite quickly. What are your thoughts? You must have seen the trailers. I think everyone's seen the trailers now.
I've seen the trailers, and, look, it looks great. I am just always going to see those movies. I mean, it's the reason it's a, $4 billion franchise, whatever they sold themselves to Disney for. I'm excited. I will probably never not be excited, double negative.
Well, I saw something on your IMDb, and I thought, I'm going to get him into so much trouble now.
Oh, great. Yeah, please do that.
The fans said no. I'm pretty sure the actors who were in the original said no to it as well. But in 2008, I didn't even know this existed. I'm shocked that this even exists. Yeah, there was a Princess Bride game.
Marriage is what brings us together today. Yes, Princess Bride game. Yes, that happened.
Yes.
And I think that's what I said. I mean, literally, I think I just did some variation if it wasn't that exact line. I did like 2 lines. I mean, it was really very minimal, but it was a pleasure and an honor to play that iconic character. Are you asking if they should make the movie? No, they shouldn't.
There you go.
There's no way.
Anybody want a peanut?
I mean, you cannot top that.
I mean, the weirdest thing was you said that happened, and I immediately thought, where have I heard that before? And it suddenly just dawned on me. It's that bit in Family Guy with, who was it? Was it David Bowie and the other one? What was his name?
I don't know. What was the bit?
They were doing the worst ever music video of all time, which was David Bowie.
And Mick Jagger?
Yes.
Dancing in the streets.
Dancing in the street. Because you're a man of many talents, I am now going to give you, and I'm going to time it, because I didn't time it last time. It went on for about 2.5 minutes, so you could go a bit farther if you wanted to. A minute or so to do as many impressions as you can, starting from now.
Well, of course, I'm going to start with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and then the next thing I'm going to do is Sam Elliott, because I love Sam Elliott in A Star is Born. And then, while I'm over there, I'm actually going to do Bradley Cooper, because that's a very rare impression that not a lot of people do. But a lot of people also don't do Ray Liotta, and I don't know why. Karen, that's all we had.
but I don't know if it really is all you had, because I'm Johnny Carson, and that's pretty much it for me. And to go right into that, you go to Casey Kasem, who's dead now, but we don't care. And then you go to Michael Caine, and you always bring it back to Michael Caine. If you want to get people to come closer to the speaker, you start whispering like this, and that's a minute.
Still 10 seconds.
Good God! Well, I suppose I could do my Matt Horn. Still 10 seconds. It's a controversy. See, we don't say that here. We say controversy. But that's us. We don't speak the Queen's English, do we?
No.
And, of course, we don't speak the Queen's English there. I threw in a little Jeff Goldblum because I don't want to disappoint you and make you think I fell 10 seconds short with a really lame cop-out at imitating the host. Oh, that wouldn't be right, would it? No. Mm-hmm. You don't even know it. You do Goldblum. That's a little Goldblum that you do right there when you go, that's what Jeff Goldblum does. Yeah, of course. Let me help you build off that. We will get you to be able to do a Jeff Goldblum by the end of this.
I mean, the most obvious impression that I can think of is US presidents. I mean, any impressionist will be able to do at least US president. You do George W. Bush, supposedly.
I did George Bush for Family Guy. I did George Bush for a lot of things. The world was a brighter place. Can you believe that I can say that? The world was a brighter place when I was president. Yes, there was extraordinary renditions, take people down to the CIA and torture them, but that doesn't amount to a can of beans. And then, of course, you have, Barack Obama, who would say, what we got right now is a real S-storm. And I'm not going to say the word out loud because there are children listening. Then, of course, you have Bill Clinton. And Bill Clinton would say, you know what? This is just a different version of the same old, same old. I was impeached in 1999, and here we go again.
Can you do Trump?
I don't do Donald Trump. And it's funny. I'm so averse to the man and his politics. That may be the weird little psychological barrier. I mean, I can do, build a wall. For whatever reason, I can't find quite the right channel. That happens with impressionists. There are voices that I can do that other impressionists just can't get to because they can't find the hook or the handle. And it seems like, with Donald Trump, there's an easy hook in her handle. And there are, but for me, I just vocally cannot tap into it. And like I said, it may just be a mental block. I don't want to give the guy more airtime. I mean, Jesus, he's got enough of his own. I don't even know if Donald Trump can do a Donald Trump at this point. He's gone so far over the cliff. I don't... Melania, what do I sound like? I can tell you right now, I do a Rudy Giuliani. And that's one that's probably just as valuable during this particular moment. Because he's somewhere hiding in the Ukraine with Viktor Yanukovych, the past president. But that's just not a voice that many around the world, anyway, may be as familiar with. But I was America's mayor for a year, and then I really screwed that up.
Well, I was going to ask you, because I thought, you've done Bill Clinton, and you've done George W. Bush. If there was a song we could get you to sing where you would sing as both, as a duet of Bush and Clinton. And I was thinking, what would be the best song we could choose?
I say, to all the girls I've loved before, who traveled in and out my door, I'm glad they came along. I'm glad to sing this song to all the girls I've loved before. To all the girls I've once caressed. May I say, I've held the best. Hold on, Laura. It's just a song. I'm not talking about real life. I love you. Haven't caressed a lot of other women. That's it.
Yeah. I was going to say you could have done the American anthem, but...
You mean the Star Spangled Banner or the...
Yeah.
The national anthem. And now, to sing the American anthem, George Bush and Bill Clinton. Oh, say, can you see, by the dawn's early light, what so proudly we hail, by the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars, through the perilous fight, oh, the ramparts we watched, blah, 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 blah. I think I already screwed it up. There's a lot of pressure. I can do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag, to a certain extent, of the United States of America, and to the republic, or the autocracy, for which it stands, one nation under God. I love you, God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for most people. The rest, well, we'll just have to see.
I get clapping in the background.
You're clapping in the background.
Yeah.
Yay!
Yay!
We like when you do the president. That's nice. That's funny. Oh.
Very good. Well, Chris, it's
Yes.
coming very quickly to the end of the interview.
Yes.
I'm going to
Yes.
give you a 1 minute plug now to plug Gears 5 and pending NDA agreements, anything else you've got coming up.
Gears 5, play it, love it, live it. Just wonderful story and action, great gaming, great gameplay. That's my big wandering endorsement of that. In terms of things coming up, like I said, I've done a couple more Family Guys, and I hope, should it happen again, we shall see, that I will do maybe a reprise, as it were, of my role in giving pleasure to another dictator. Who knows who it will be this year? Hitler last year. Let's go for a wild card. Idi Amin? Why not? I mean, he's out there. Do people still know him? I don't know. But am I willing to go there and make those sounds? Sure. For Union scale, I will do it.
Well, Chris, I said you were going to be fantastic, and you bloody were.
Oh, thanks, man.
Yeah.
Just doing my thing, man. So it was really great to talk to you and Dave. I feel so much closer to Dave now. It's weird. Like, just even though it was just a text question, it felt like he reached out and we connected. So just tell him I feel him. It's like the Force, I know he's out there.
Thanks very much, Chris, for your time.
You bet. Thanks, man. Take care.
Bye-bye.